Good morning, everybody. I'm Kristen. I'm the acting president of the CSL Leadership Board, and I'm here to help us set our intention for opening up into sacred space. Our theme for this year is 2020 Spiritual Vision. Glasses we really need to put on and look at with the lens of what has been unfolding this year. And it's helpful to see it through a spiritual view. Our theme for July is Unchained Spirituality. And today's talk is titled, The Truth Will Set You Free. So I invite you right now to close your eyes as we open sacred space together. Set our intentions for this service by bringing our awareness of our unity and our oneness. And we have always referred to one lit candle, and I would like you just to imagine for yourself with your eyes closed, a candle in front of you where you strike a match and you're going to light the candle as a symbolic representation of setting that sacred flame for yourself. And so right now we bless this time together in our space and our service. We recognize that the divine presence moves through all things and is all things. We know that this presence of love expresses as each of us in unique and beautiful ways. And I know that we're blessed by this time together and that we are each renewed in our remembrance of love, peace, wholeness, and connection. I give thanks for everyone in attendance right now in our Google Meet. I give thanks for everyone watching us live right now on Facebook. And I give thanks for all of you watching this later through YouTube. We especially surround our divine mixer of all the technology, Charlene. She really helps make this service possible. So we just bless her. May this energy of love that is generated here bless us and all abundantly. And so it is. And right now, we would usually open up to a community prayer. We're going to hold that for after our talk today. If you have prayer requests or celebrations, I invite you to type them into the chat. And we will go right now to a meditation. And so I invite you to remain in your sacred space and just relax into it.
Thank you, Kristen. And so, let's take a moment and breathe in deeply to center ourselves back into that place so beautifully set up by Kristen. Imagining that flickering candle flame. Notice how it dances, just driven by invisible energy that makes itself visible through that candle flame. As we imagine this candle flame flickering with that light, we immediately know and correlate that with the spirit that flickers within the center of our being. So I need you to take that image of that flickering candle and move that candle flame. Imagine it moving right into the center of your heart space. Now breathing in really slowly And exhaling, this breath does not expire the flame. This breath fans the flame. This breath of life gives life to that flickering flame of spirit that is in each and every one of us. It is where we are all one with the divine. There's never been a separation. We've always been at one with all that is. As we take deeper breaths, we relax into the knowingness of our divine connection. Listening for any senses of discomfort and breathing into that space. Breathing in the oneness, the peace, the joy, the power, the love. Breathing it into any area of discomfort. And watching it dissipate. Now in your mind's eye, which is focused on that flickering candle flame within, I need you to radiate that flame, the heat of that flame. Radiate it out like the rippling waves after throwing a stone into a pond. Radiate that flame from the center of your heart outward. Outward a little wider, pushing out towards your or other organs, radiating that flame out and extending it upwards toward our neck and downward toward our root chakra, outward towards our limbs, our arms, our legs. And that flame radiates, surrounds us in a bubble of light. The light of the presence of spirit encompasses our very being. It is warm. It is love. Let's stay in this space for 2.5 minutes, just breathing in the warmth and the love of pure spirit. Staying in that space, the light and the comfort and the warmth of pure spirit. I invite you to return to the present moment, allowing that flame of spirit to continue to flicker inside. Knowing that at any time throughout the week, you can always return to this truth about yourself, that you are divine. You are part of the divine life that is God. We live, we move, we have our beingness inside spirit. We cannot be separate from it. We cannot step outside of it and look at it. We are always inside spirit. And so it is. So, with this knowingness, this space that we so carefully carved out for ourselves this morning, I would like us to just know that this right here, right now, this is where we live. This is the truth about ourselves, that we've never been separate from spirit, even though it feels like it sometimes. I mean, let's admit, when we all get here on this planet, through whatever forms that we come, I know we all come from our mother, but whatever environment that we were dropped into, our family or whatever societal construct that we've had as children, we were trained to look outside of ourselves. To look outside of ourselves, to gather instructions for how to behave in this world. And that's not a terrible thing. It's good, right? But somehow, someplace along the way, we lost the truth about ourselves. It's that we are not separate. There's no us versus them. We are all one with one another. And so, coming up in whatever family of origin you had, it's guaranteed it was dysfunctional to some degree. That's part of being human. And so part of that dysfunction is the belief that there's not enough, that we're separate, and that those people over there are the problem, and that if only we could gain that thing over there, then that would be the solution. So our whole construct of society is set up to help us to maintain that belief, falsely, that we don't have enough, we're not good enough. We have to buy things, convince other people to like us, and all untold number of things to keep us under the illusion that we're not enough, we don't have enough, we're not good enough. Some have used this to their advantage to keep us mentally enslaved. But this truth that we are one, that there is no separation between us and divine, and that we are perfect just the way we are, oh yeah, that's the truth that sets you free. So, yes, enslavement. I know a lot of us these days are very much focused on the American history of the African American enslavement. But what I'm here to talk about with you today is the mental enslavement that we have, each and every one of us. We have we can be mentally enslaved. That thing I talked about a few minutes ago. Whereas children were told, not good enough. That's not the truth. What is the truth? That you are divine. So that sets you free. And it's a matter of taking fear and turning it into love. So when we're operating out of a sense of fear, there's a sense of separation and this sort of bondage to how things look, how things appear. It keeps us enshrouded with doubt and worry, and it causes us to condemn others. So we start casting condemnation upon the others. For example, we start judging people. In our mind's eye, we tell ourselves, oh, she shouldn't be doing that. Or look at that, that's terrible. In fact, there was a story in the Bible, I'm sure you've heard of it, where, I'll keep it short, but apparently Jesus rolled up on this situation. And Jesus said, what's happening here? And all the people said, oh, this woman, she committed adultery. Now, the subtext is, she didn't do it by herself. Why y'all trying to stone this chick? She must have done it with some other guy. That stuff's not in the Bible. I'm adding that for your benefit. Jesus rolled up on this group of people who are about to stone this woman who committed adultery. And so he says, hold up, wait a minute. Which one of you guys has not done something sinful? And so then he leans over and starts writing in the sand. And people are like, what's he writing? Uh-oh. And he was about to spill all the tea. That means tell everybody's business about what sins they committed. And they were like, oh, look at the time, I gotta go. One after another, people just kind of fled. And Jesus was like, So, young lady, where are your accusers? And she's like, I don't see any. He says, yeah, so you're good. You can go. What does that story teach us? It teaches us that everybody who seeks to condemn another definitely has some stuff going on in themselves that they could benefit from looking at before pointing fingers and condemning and judging other people. They could deal with their own misunderstandings, mistakes, whatever it is that they need to work on before looking out and judging one another. And in fact, at the end of that, Jesus did say, the truth will set you free. And so for us, what does that mean today? Well, if you get online and to any of the social medias, you will find that no one can say anything without getting jumped on. People are left and right condemning each other for making mistakes with their words. I mean, some of them are terrible mistakes, and some people really need to have consequences for their behavior. I get it. But are we the ones to sit in our throne of judgment and cast all of this dispersion, or whatever the words are, cast all this judgment on these others, when clearly there's some stuff that we can do for ourselves? So the truth here is that we are not separate from the others that we're casting all of our judgment upon. And that the next step, understanding that the truth will set you free. And what is the truth? We are one. We're not separate. We're all one. The next step is to turn within. Stop casting all these judgments out, because it just reflects all the judgment we really have about ourselves. What we do instead, let's turn within. And I like the word in because it says, go inside. Within we find ourselves. Within we find our connection to spirit. And think about this word in. I'm working on a little talk. I'll give you a preview of it. The word in, right? We go in to set our intention. And we go in to listen to our intuition. And we go in to listen to spirit so that we can be inspired, right? And these words, they continue, and I'll go further in another talk. But I think about these days, what are we doing? We have to stay inside the house. So let's not sit inside our houses and continue to cast all the judgment out on Twitter and Facebook and all the places where you could just, you. Well, let's take this moment of being in our houses and go inside our being. Let's find a new path for ourselves. Each and every one of us, we can find a new path. We've been taught through the teachings of Ernest Holmes. He taught us, and he's the founder of our movement, but this is no secret. This has been the truth for years and years, right? In fact, in 1950, Thomas Troward wrote, "Spirit creates by self-contemplation. Therefore, what it contemplates itself as being, that it becomes. You are individualized spirit. Therefore, what you contemplate as the law of your being becomes the law of your being. Hence, contemplate a law of death, and you die. Contemplate a law of life as inherent in the very being of the spirit, and you are building up a healthier and happier personality in mind, body, and circumstance. Express this by initiative and selection." Initiative and selection. There is an eternal principle, as active as ever. It is available now. Like God, we must express the pure affirmative spirit. So, yeah, we're born into something that causes us to look outside of ourselves. But within each and every one of us, the truth is that we're one with spirit. And this is where we become very focused, very clear that as we go within, we make choices. We become selective, right? Express this by initiative and selection. And that can end up looking like all kinds of different things, right? How does it look when you take the truth and you bring it in? I am one with God. God is not separate from me. And I get inspired and I actively choose my actions. I start to walk the talk. I start to behave like I know that we're one and that it matters, right? How does that look then? How does that appear in the world? Well, it appears as me making choices, saying words, and doing things that reflect the truth. And if that doesn't change the world, then I don't know what will, right? Each and every one of us has the capability and the opportunity to go within and to listen, and then come out of that and do things that support this truth. So we're not just talking the talk and sounding all great, yada, yada. What comes out of your mouth? What do you do every day? Here are some suggestions from our teachings. Meditate. Now, it doesn't have to be a long meditation. Sit down for 10 minutes. Reverend Sunday is teaching something on Thursday mornings that help us in how to do the active meditations. And they're 10 minutes or less, right? Do that every day. Prayer. Now, we have learned how to do affirmative prayer, which speaks to what Thomas Troward wrote here. Visioning, yes. When you go in and you have some intuition and you are inspired by spirit, then you vision, you ask spirit, what is mine to do? What do I have to let go of? What would be good for me to then contribute? How can I be bigger and better? How can I be part of the change? You can do yoga, ancient practice to align our physical bodies with our mental body and to bring in the power of the supramental. Communing with nature. Erin gave a great talk a couple of weeks ago about getting out, sitting, doing bird sitting, becoming one with nature, and really taking in that power that really we can get no other way. Radical forgiveness. And radical forgiveness, we forgive not only those who we deem have, crossed us somehow, we also forgive ourselves. And in doing so, we become more free. The so-called shackles are released, and life is just a lot lighter without holding on to past grudges. Chanting. Yes, chanting, even doing the mudras with the hands, accompanied by sounds like Om, Na, Stop. These things, ancient studies have shown that they change our brain. So if you'd like to find any more about that, please feel free to contact us. And there's so many resources. This is not new stuff. This is ancient wisdom that we are just remembering to return to. Because if we are left to the devices of society, despair is really the only choice. If we are to believe what we're told and presented as if it were the truth, without questioning, we'd be in despair. But the truth is that we are not separate. There is always love at the very center of our being, ready to serve, ready to do through us, as us, whatever it is that we deem our gift to the world. So we set aside time every day to do these practices and more. And what we find is that over time, it becomes easier and easier. A marathon runner does not just get up one day and say, I'm going to do 26 miles. No, it doesn't happen like that. Each day, they train a little more, a little more. They build the muscle, and they build the endurance, and they build the capacity to do a whole marathon. And so I'm asking you today, what can you do? What small thing can you do today to build the muscle, to build the mental stamina, to bring about the life that you desire? Because that's all that's getting in the way. It's really changing our thinking, as Ernest Holmes said, can change our entire life. So we're redefining our minds. Really, today is the first day of the rest of your life. This very day is day one of the rest of your life. So we drop the shackles of the way other people want us to see ourselves, of the common thoughts of, they call it race thought, but let's call it human race misguided thinking. We can break out of that. And anything that we were told to believe about ourselves, we could take a look at it and say, does that still serve me? I mean, yeah, it was good. It got me here. But is this belief still serving me? Or is there a bigger truth, something else that I can learn and live with and embrace that will make my effectiveness even more? Because we are looking to expand our lives, expand our consciousness, and to touch others. We each deserve to live in a fear-free, abundant life. We don't have to earn it and work for it and, berate ourselves for not being good enough in order to deserve to live an abundant life. We deserve it because we're here. That's all we had to do was show up. Prerequisites met. Now that we're here, we have absolutely every right to every abundant, wonderful thing that we can imagine. Because that's what Spirit wants for us. Spirit wants us to expand and to grow in our own conscious evolution. So we're partaking in that together as a community. We are partaking in that with one another. So what is ours to do? It begins with your very next breath. There it is. That's ours to do. We find our community and we work together and we learn the spiritual practices that work for us. And we keep returning to the source, that flickering candle within. That is the source of our entire life, and that reaches and expands out and affects those around us. That is the wonderful news. All right, let's go within. And I speak my word from that space of divine knowingness, that there is no separation. There's only one. And that one is living and moving and having its beingness in me, as me, through me. And I know that this is the truth for you. And as I let go of any ideas of negativity, any ideas of lack or limitation, I make space for the truth to expand in my life. I allow the light to simply erase all darkness without effort, without really clenching hard and hoping it's so. I am knowing the truth about me, that I am spirit. Moving through and as me, I am made in the image and likeness of God herself. And as I put my attention on what I do want, that tends to manifest. And that my actively selecting truth and light, that it naturally expels the darkness. I don't have to fight the darkness. I have to turn on the light. Done. So in my center, I know for each and every one of you within the sound of my voice, I know that you too are the one that turns on the light. Whether that is showing up every day to denounce all of the injustices in the world, whether it is to share with your wallet to all of the causes that matter, that are making the truth even more prevalent in this world, whatever that looks like for you, I know that you are spirit. That in the center of you is divine knowingness. You know what to do. You know how to do it. And you are consciously selecting right action. Because this is the first day of the rest of your life. And as you move forward, each step you take is with intention, divine inspiration. And it is led by your intuition. Allowing spirit to move through each and every one of us, connecting us where we are connected and expanding that to evolve this entire planet. That's the work. And it is amazing work. So I speak my word for each and every one of us, that we make a difference, that our little bubble extends throughout the whole DC area and then again throughout the whole continental United States. Yes, it jumps across every ocean and it encompasses the entire planet. Because the truth has that kind of propulsion. With a sense of gratitude and a sense of well-being, I rest in the effortless, grateful knowledge that it is already done. And I get to sit back and watch, as well as move my own feet. Watch as this whole entire planet is transformed. I release my word into the law, knowing it is done, and so it is. Kristen, you're up.
Thank you, Charlene. That was just beautiful. I'd like to go now to our time of giving. And I'm just waiting a minute. But as Charlene was just saying, we live in this abundance, and the abundance is ours in all facets, in so many ways. Please say with me our affirmation and our statement of giving. The presence of spirit with me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact, and therefore I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. If you would like to give through text, you could text your donation amount to 703-940-9620. You could give on our Cash App, $CSL Leesburg. You could mail your donation to P.O. Box 1830, Leesburg, Virginia 20177, or you could give through PayPal at info@cslleesburg.org. And what we do with the money that you give is we tithe. We are a charitable organization. We give back to the development of our technology through our services, through the services that we provide, and we look for ways to give in our own community. And the next thing I'd like to talk to you about is opportunities for you to get involved in other offerings of CSL. And we have two great opportunities. On Tuesday mornings, you can join Reverend Sunday as she leads us through a unified mindfulness practice. I'm sorry, on Thursdays at 9. And on Tuesdays, you can join Charlene, our licensed practitioner, with dream study and a way to understand yourself a little bit more through your dreams. And you can find the links at cslleesburg.org. If you go into a way to get involved, you will see the tab to find how to join those groups as well. It is also on Meetup. If you go to CSL Leesburg on Meetup, you will find a link to join those groups. Meeting online. And we end our service with a practice.
Hold on, wait. We're going to hear from Dan and Aaron's music next, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I didn't do it. It was my fault. So here it comes. Just a sec. It's a little tricky, so bear with me 1 second. Okay, it's coming. It doesn't want to do it. It doesn't want to do it. Okay, I'll do it again. Hold on. Sorry, new computer. Who dis? Why won't it do it? Okay, Kristen. Yeah, it won't do it. So we'll play it next time. How about that?
Okay, we have to adjust sometimes. That's okay. And what I'd like you to do right now is close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and say to yourself, I am love. Now I'd like you to open your eyes and look around at anybody in your space and know that they are love. Say, you are love. And we just remember that this is all love, and we just share all the love sprinkles over everyone. And that's how we end our service, just knowing that it is all love.